WandaVision. You remember how down I was on that? Remember the first couple of reviews? Who's that negative Nancy anymore? Because I think this show has reached Marvel potential. They've earned that intro. Dun 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 dun. The show was good. It began sitcom normally and blah with until Agnes shows up and Vision hides his face behind the pillow. I'm starting to think you don't need to hide with Agnes around because there's so much magic happening with her in the room that at this point that she just goes with the flow. Herbert just goes with the flow. It feels like they all know what's happening, and it does feel like Wanda is the villain here, and there's no redeeming her. We'll get to that moment. So she's in here. She's inside the home with them, and she looks up and goes, "Do you want me to take that one again from the top?" And Vision says, "What are they talking about? What's going on here?" And apparently Vision wasn't supposed to deny Agnes because he told her, "Have you even washed your hands? No, you can't take up and pick up my babies." She's like, "Well, that's not what we'll schedule. That's not in the script. What's going on here?" So there was a malfunction in the junction, and Wanda takes Vision aside. "No, no, you're imagining this. It never really happened. Don't worry about it." Why doesn't her hexing work on Vision? Is it because Vision is an inorganic material? He seems to be the only one who is un no, that's not true. That's not true. But let me finish my sentence. He's the only one that's unaffected by Wanda and the Hex. It's not true because he says he can't remember anything before Westview, which was it 9 days ago or 7 days ago, when Wanda Maximoff, goes into the sword base, takes Vision and the dead body of Vision and brings him into this place. We're getting so much more answers here, but also so much WTF at the same time. This is masterful. We did not need episode 1, 2, and most of episode 3. We could have gotten episode 1, 2, and 3 in a quicker manner, like Friday release, a Sunday release, a Wednesday release, and then we get into episode 4 the very next Friday. That's how I would have done it if I could rearrange the order of this stuff, and also wouldn't have given so much away during the trailers. But that's stuff I've said here before. You know how I feel about that. They the kids aged when Agnes was around. If you're listening to Josh from Den of Nerds, he seems to pick up on the fact that Agnes is always there every time they age. So they're gonna age to a 5-year-old. We know they're 5 because in the little intro package with the music, WandaVision, there's 5 birthday numbers on the birthday cake. Side note, birthday cakes are disgusting and they've always been disgusting. And now that coronavirus is a thing, on a birthday cake kind of feels like it's something in the past. Monica gets an MRI. And what the hell? Did she get her powers? Because there's nothing on the scans. I don't know what an MRI is. I didn't know what CMBR was, but I'm gonna let a nerd on YouTube take care of that part for me. Not me. Someone else knows what that means. And there was a line in here also where she talks about we need lead for the photon. What else? What were the other materials she was talking about? Monica says cadmium for the neutrons and tantalum for seismic blasts. And I'm sure there's a scientific explanation for all that. But I know lead for photon is a reference to Photon, the nickname. That's about as much as I know when I read into that. Monica explains the feeling, the trance that she had over her. She called it grief. It was a hopeless feeling that she was drowning in. Braun also has that feeling when Vision snaps him out of it, which is something that happens here that Layla Miller does. When Layla Miller is in the House of M world, as long as she touches you, as you can see on this page, issue number 3. Nope. Why am I doing this? This isn't one of those videos I'm gonna edit, so I won't do that to you. But when Layla Miller touches you in the House of M comic, you come back to regular reality, unaffected by Wanda. So Vision feels, it looks like he has that power. He touched the computer and it came to realness. So they're adapting something from this comic. They're adapting stuff from the Tom King written, it's called Vision, that comic book, because the dog Sparky appears there. But it's actually like a green dog, but in this one it's a real dog that dies. What's the other one? The the comic book called Vision and Scarlet Witch. It looks like they're adapting. And I was talking to Trinity about this stuff right before I started this video. Um, where is Monica's uniform? Made of Kevlar. That's that bulletproof, really strong type material. It was molecularly changed. Reality changed its appearance into the 70s outfits. Okay? I want to sit on that because I feel like it's important. So that's something about the outfit. When Monica changes into her clothing, she gave like a superhero landing. You know how they're all epic like that? She gave a stare back before she closed those curtains, like, yeah, I got superpowers. It was so, you gotta watch that scene again. So she closed the curtains with a superhero style. The Wanda was called the principal victimizer by Tyler Hayward. They're explaining her backstory. They say they were the kids of Irina and Oleg Maximoff. Why would you need to go there? Why, we didn't need to mention their parents when we're talking about the origins of Wanda. Just to get to the meat and potatoes, get into the where she's from, Sokovia. Obviously, she has parents. Why do we have to name them by name? Specifically, choosing names makes me think about Magneto and how this is probably fake. I don't know why you would go that extent. So there's a line here that reminded me of the scene in Age of Ultron with Captain America and Maria Hill. He says, the director of S.W.O.R.D., the twins were subsequently radicalized volunteering at Hydra. Jimmy Woo goes, that's an oversimplification of things, but okay. It made me think about how Cap said to Maria Hill, yeah, what kind of person, what kind of patriot would volunteer themselves to get experimented on some formula by a German scientist? Who does that? And then Maria Hill goes, well, we're not at war. And then he goes, they are. And he justified what they did, trying to make you see things from a different perspective, that we are all the same. That's what that kind of line brought me back to. And I loved Tyler's character, his role in the beginning part of this. And when he got into a discussion with Monica, they were doing a back and forth, and it was enlightening. I know he's a dick, according to Darcy, but to me, I like this character of Tyler at that point. He does become a dick later. Also, she doesn't technically say dick, which reminds me this is a PG rated show, not PG-13. There's a subtle little reminders that they just cut out a little thing here, cut out a little thing there, and just a reminder this show is actually PG. The trippy things that scare us and wow us and make us feel like, oh, the eerie moments, they're really nothing to do with blood or adult themes. You got to give them credit for that. You got to give this show a lot of credit for what it's doing. There's a moment where the word terrorist is used, and as a comic book fan, it's a word I hear all the time, talk about Magneto or anytime there's a villain. So it's desensitized to me. But yeah, the actual definition would be what Tyler was telling Monica. You said in your own report that you were being terrorized. The root word is it matches. And she's like, no, I'm trying to say there's no political agenda. There was no actual fucking side note. Political agenda made me think of the insurrection on January 6th, where white supremacists stormed the Capitol and looked for people like AOC and other politicians so that they could reverse the political decision to change presidents, the democratic process. That's for all the white supremacists who may be watching my channel. It's a reminder that this is an anti-white supremacy channel. So when I hear things like political agenda, that's what pops up in my mind. I hope you feel as uncomfortable, and I hope you already stopped watching my channel. Just the white supremacists. Everyone else, you guys are good. Political agenda premeditated. It actually was a premeditated act. The problem is Wanda made this decision to go to the S.W.O.R.D. base. We got to see the angles, multiple angles. It was no question it was her. And Monica had no comeback to that. No redeeming Wanda for me. She really is the Scarlet Witch. She doesn't have a nickname yet, as Tyler called it out. He's like, no alias here, no supervillain name, basically, is what he was asking. He might be the one to name her. That'll be cool for him to give her the name. but she's gonna earn this name the way she's acting. Shh. Um, he got the video, he says, earlier this morning, which I was happy to hear that. He got it earlier because I would have asked, well, why were you sitting on this for so long? Also, another note, Wanda disregarded Vision's own will not to resurrect him, and as part of the Sokovia Accords, which I guess are still intact. If I needed any proof, the Sokovian Accords must be honored. Then we get back to the sitcom. The kids have a dog until here comes Agnes one more time. You guys need a doghouse, right? Vision was on to it too. He's like, oh, we just have like a normal thing. Usually this is about the time where doghouse. Wanda uses her powers right next to Agnes. Something's wrong with Agnes. And also, the kids age from 5 years old to 10 years old when Agnes is around. They grow up so fast. You know, you just can't control kids. Agnes? Might you be Agatha Harkness? Or might this be nothing? I don't know. Then we go back to the argument, back to no, I read that. Age 10, twins on the left side of the screen. There we go back to actually the sword base. At times at the time cue of 16 minutes and 10 seconds, you see the 3 coffees that Jimmy Woo brings to the team. It's he, Darcy, and Monica. And she gets to sip of that coffee. While Monica is talking, they're going to mention the fight between Wanda and Thanos, the fight between Captain Marvel and Thanos. Who's stronger? Basically a fan conversation. When Captain Marvel's name gets mentioned, it's beef. Monica was not interested. She was not having it. The last time Monica saw her, according to the MCU, was when she goes, hey, Auntie Carol, here's your jacket. I've been taking care of it, and I even got out that stain of ketchup. See you next time when you come back. You know, I'm expecting you. Captain Marvel runs off, leaps into the sky. The camera zooms in on Monica Rambeau. The little happy Akira Akbar face smiling, looking up at the sky. Their hero doesn't see her since. Hasn't seen her since, according to the movies. We don't know what relationship Maria Rambeau had before she passed away. We have no idea if Carol was there. It doesn't feel like Carol's been there. She would have been there for the 2012 Avengers movie. But she didn't show up, or she showed up after the fact. Maybe Sam Jackson and Nick Fury hit the beeper and was like, where is she? World Security Council is sending a missile to New York City, and now she's here an hour and a half later. The movie ended already. Maybe she showed up a little bit late. She showed up late for Avengers Infinity War, right? You saw in the end credit scene of her own movie. Where's Fury? Well, by the time the Avengers see Captain Marvel, they're back in New Jersey. They traveled from Wakanda to New Jersey. So hours passed for her to answer the beeper. What am I trying to say here? Who cares? Captain Marvel, is she stronger than Wanda, or is Wanda stronger? What did it take to get Wanda knocked out? It took rain, fire, pew, 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 pew from the sky from the ships. What did it take to take Captain Marvel out? A power stone. One of the 6 elemental stones that created the universe is what it took to get her. So what's more stronger? The shots that you can take from the sky, or Infinity Stone? With that being said, this does not prove that Wanda Maximoff is stronger just because she gave Thanos a harder time. Continuing. This is where they nicknamed the little town the Hex. And I love how Monica looked at Darcy like, I'm going to smile at your joke. I'm going to recognize it because it is kind of creative. And I don't want to have beef with you because you didn't wrong me the way that Carol did. So we're going to be happy. And she kind of half smiles her face and recognizes the Hex as the name. And then when she says it later on, Darcy's happy. Yeah, you totally said it. Darcy's the best. Darcy didn't have a big role in this episode. But what she did in the last episode still sticks. So the MVP status hasn't rubbed off yet. She's like Stephen Curry. We know she can get it done, even though she hasn't won the award in like 3 years. When was the last time Steph won it? 5 years ago? Yeah. Wow. Because Giannis had it, James Harden had it, Russell Westbrook had it. And I'm sure someone I'm forgetting. So they think that the heroes think that they should maybe send an email to the 80s because emails were around. What happens when you throw something into the hex that doesn't need to be changed? And that's where we get that email. Also, while they were talking, on the wall where all the faces are, there's an ID under them. You remember that from the last episode. So you'd think by now they'd have identified Agnes. Agnes is still unidentified. You can see it when Monica moves her head. The screen, the part of the screen where Agnes is supposed to be identified, was empty. So the Wanda over here is a villain. She talks down to them. I thought she was deciding what makes the show and what doesn't. The problem is that we saw a part of the argument with her and actually everybody every time, and then it cuts away right away quickly. So why is she recording this? Is it to be seen? Yes. Is it to be seen by her for remembrance in the future? She's going to believe that she'll have the kids and she'll be like, hey, look, I actually was recording this our whole upbringing the whole time, kids. Let's watch it. Is that what it's for? Because for her to tell the sword agents, no, stay away from me, stay out of my home, I'm on my side, you guys are on your side, for her to say that stuff, well then why are you recording this for TV purposes? It just doesn't make sense to me, because you make it seem like you want to be seen. When the drone enters the world of the hex, it's clear that the cameras are cutting off the drone. Like she doesn't want the drone to make it on the TV show. Why did it make the TV show the first time? Weird, right? Right. I don't get it. I think it's a problem with the screenwriting. I think it's a plot hole. Maybe it's not, but probably just a plot hole. Then we get back to the sitcom, and the reason that this whole dog thing existed, it was for the line for her to say that family is forever. But your brother died, didn't he? And the next time we go home, doorbell rings, ding dong. Who could it be? The camera cuts away back to Darcy, and she's pulling up, and there's a bunch of alarms going on in the sword base when that happens. That's important. Maybe there was a breach in the fucking the hex. When Darcy reaches to what's going on screen, there's alarms blaring in the sword. I think there was a breach, now that I've rewatched it like 3-4 times, in the hex. Quicksilver might have ran into it, or Doctor Strange and something happened where Quicksilver tries to find Wanda. Oh, my sister's alive in this universe? And Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men, or someone resembling him, appears there. We're supposed to be confused, that's the point. Everyone's confused except for Vision, who's fighting with his wife. As the credits were showing up, which was a nice little touch, he says, I cannot remember anything before Westview. He flies in the air. Wanda flies in the air. Wanda's faking it and acting like, no, everything's under control. She said, am I supposed to? You think I just made it so that the dogs walk themselves and I take care of the dentist and I take care of the lawn? And you think that's me? That's oddly specific of you to say. That's pretty specific. Wanda, I think it is you, and you're not in my good books right now. Wanda, you just made the list. I'm not happy with Wanda right now. So, the cutaway. It is Quicksilver. I don't like the delivery of how they announced it was Quicksilver, because first Vision says, Wanda, who is this man? We get a scene from behind, seeing his hair color. When I saw that, I thought it was Magneto. I was less happy because it wasn't Magneto, because it was Quicksilver, and it was the Evan Peters version, which is trippy, and we're supposed to love that, and I do like it. It's just that when I have expectations for Magneto, I'm disappointed. What could have changed was Vision could have said the words, Wanda, who is that young man? So I already rule out Magneto, and when I see the gray hair, I go, it's got to be Quicksilver. And then when I see the front of the face, it's him. And he's talking a little bit different. Hey, can I give my sister a big squeeze? Come over here. Hey, who's the popsicle? What is happening? This show is awesome for that reason. Who would have thought we would see the first mutant that makes it in the MCU. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But who would have thought it would have been Quicksilver? I hope he gets a cool little scene. You know, the Quicksilver scene where music starts playing and he's moving really slow and he's got everything under control and he's forming everyone's hair and then he goes back to normal and you see people punching each other. Oh, it's Quicksilver, man. I don't know why they didn't do that in the Dark Phoenix movie. How could you not? That's the point of Quicksilver. If you're not doing that, then you're doing it wrong. And that's the episode reviewed according to me. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel by clicking on the smiley face that just formed on the side of my face. I will be doing a 33 burning questions, or I'm planning to do one with Trinity of 2nd Street Marvel. So keep it locked on Chillmonger.